Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of the Pixel Crashers Podcast, a podcast where we discuss our thoughts on gaming news. I am Angelus de Mortiel, together with Kev the Gamer.
I just want to pour a little bit out for the PS2. Rest in peace.
And Deathstrad09.
Long live Final Fantasy XI.
And Cheesecake.
And Cheesecake, apparently.
But not Joe, because Joe is a peasant and he's not here.
He
But
may show up.
He's not with a girl. That's what we know.
Maybe.
That's what we know. He's not with a girl.
You never know, actually. You never really know.
For
all we know, he could be with Travis's girl. Doing their own podcast. Separate from
Happy
us.
Dance podcast?
They what? Wow. Anyway, so
I was talking about that Happy Dance. Yeah, nasty.
Yep. Anyway, moving on from Kev's peasantry. So games.
I've denounced peasantry.
Yes. So before we talk about the games we played, let's talk about the games that somebody played and leaked to the internet in the name of Mass Effect Andromeda. Didn't really have a lot of time for this story, so to speak. It was mostly laziness. I don't know. I was confused. That's what it was. But so Mass Effect Andromeda leaked some footage out. Main thing that people are all talking about is the whole jetpacks, which I don't care that much about. They'll probably be fun.
Jetpacks for the win, bro. Jetpacks for the win.
They'll probably be fun in game, but the more interesting part was the survey that got leaked out that had some plot points on there, namely that, well, essentially, humans are assholes.
I wouldn't go that far.
They're invading the Andromeda system. They're now the Reapers.
I mean, yeah, when the British invaded the Americas, like that on planets.
Yeah, or kind of.
Hopefully, we won't commit genocide.
Yeah, how pretty much the Spaniards and the Caribbean and South America and Central America. The same thing there. It's like, oh, we need new land, and you just so happen to be sitting on our land. So
yeah, because it's our land now. But we know you've been here, but it's ours now.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I mean,
don't worry, we'll give them reparations later.
I'm still waiting on my 40 acres and a mule. Damn it! I want my mule.
Humans are scary creatures, right? Like we breathe oxygen, the substance that destroys metals and catches a flame, causes explosions. I mean,
I'm not sure if that's exactly how that works. That's a great argument for a politician to make.
Let's hope Trump doesn't make those arguments.
What, humans breathe oxygen. Oxygen's the fuel for fire. Therefore, humans are fire.
Humans, yeah. There's actually an internet write-up that are like, yeah, humans are fire creatures.
Humans are just entitled, bruh.
Yes.
We're entitled. We think the world owes us everything.
It doesn't?
No.
No,
I wish it did, but it doesn't.
I'm gonna agree to disagree with you on that one. I feel like you might have a bit of a bias on that topic because you're a human.
Yeah, true. Stupid human race.
So anyway, so aside from that, I'm really hoping more Mass Effect Andromeda news comes out. Something a little bit more concrete than very vague shit. And 2 or 3 year old gameplay footage. But aside from that, how about some?
Is it that old?
It was said that was from 2014.
Oh wow, I had no idea.
So whether or not that's actually the case or not.
So can we have a quick chat about jetpacks and why people are so obsessed with them? I have my theories, but
my theory is if you don't like jetpacks, you're probably a synth.
Well, the Rocketeer, James Bond. I mean, this is not a new thing.
Well, jetpacks are awesome, but I wonder in the world of gaming if it's because a lot of games struggle with vertical movement and having good vertical movement and vertical environments. So anytime jetpacks are used and used well,
You didn't really
it
even
can live
have
to a
a,
different
a, a
experience.
jump in Mass Effect 3, so
Right.
I don't really
don't
think
don't
Mass Effect really needs it though.
don't worry, they'll just map it onto the A button. You know, the
Map all
button.
things to A for the
Yeah,
win.
yeah, A button, the button that does everything in that fucking game.
Or space if you play on PC. Which actually makes it worse because you have enough buttons for everything.
Yeah,
Flip space does everything on PC.
that's just lazy ass development. You should at least have some sort of option to separate those out. But whatever, whatever. We're not gonna talk about that. Yeah. So by the way,
Let us talk about these things.
because I just made that as a supposed statement. That's now fact.
Facts.
Jetpack will be mapped to the A button, along with revive, along with enter into cover, exit cover, popping over cover. What was it? Was the dodge roll thing in there too? Yeah. Dodge roll was in there.
In
Yeah, all those are space.
Yeah.
All those are
in
space
our
buttons.
what are they called? Where they bring in people to like test stuff for like to see what are they called?
QA testers.
Not QA testers, but like groups
Beta,
that
you mean like console gamers, the people who
Focus
pay to play the
groups.
beta?
focus groups,
Oh, those guys.
focus groups have shown, our focus group tests have shown that mapping the fire and reload buttons to the A
You
to,
know,
to
you
the
know
A
what it
button
is.
has also
No, you know
right.
what it is. It's that secretly Bioware has been employing Peter Molyneux. He left Lionhead Studios and came to work for Bioware in their controller mapping department. So what if everything was mapped to the A button? You want to fire your gun? A button. You want to enter into cover? A button. You want to use a power? A button. Four
Come on, we're taking
powers?
it back to Nintendo now.
No, that was
You
a
only had two
Fable.
buttons.
That was Fable 3. That was the great thing about it, is like everything, you can do everything with just this
It's
one
perfect.
button.
It's
Well, I
perfectly
mean, there were lots of consoles like that, though.
it's a perfectly contextualized experience. Every the game reads what you want to do, and it just understands and
It,
does
it
it.
has it just hacks into your brain, and it's like, oh, I see that you want to use a power. Hold on, I've got to delay for a second so you don't think that I'm reading your mind. Okay, now we'll do that power. You're gonna see the new Xbox controller has just one button. Nothing else. But yes, jetpacks are fascinating because in a video game scenario, the God button. Yes, exactly.
Yes, God button for the win.
But the thing is with jetpacks, like you said, I agree. They're kind of a way to introduce verticality into the game.
They're a necessity.
Yeah, and it's kind of the only way you can do it because of the viewpoint of a video game, a jump just feels so lackluster. A realistic jump feels like nothing. Like if you look at like Halo,
Hey,
it's like, oh yeah, this doesn't seem like I'm jumping that far. But then you get in multiplayer and you stand beside one of the Spartans when they're jumping. You're like, this dude has like a 16-foot vertical leap. This is by no means anywhere close to realistic.
you want to know what games did like really good jumps? The Incredible Hulk game back on the PS2.
You mean the one where he would jump like 150 feet through the air?
Yeah, and like just like you could feel the impulse in the controller, and just like like an explosion took off from his feet. It was
The best
awesome.
one on that one was the pile driving the helicopters. Because that's something I
No,
want to do in real life. I just want to jump up on the nose of a helicopter, and despite gravity, despite physics, I can just pull that to the ground because I am that strong. I can pull a helicopter to the ground that's in the air while I'm
didn't
in the air.
Kasumi do something like that similar in her loyalty mission though?
Mm,
When she put some shit into her wrist or like code into her wrist and then it came down. Close enough.
well, that's different. She was hacking the helicopter.
It's close enough for me. Close
What
enough
I'm
for me.
talking about is literally the Hulk is so strong he jumps onto the nose of a helicopter and he can just will it to the ground. Forget physics and the fact that he would need a grounding force with
No,
which to
he just
contract
he
his
growls
muscles.
at it.
Yeah.
he growls at it, and the helicopter gets so scared that it wants to get back down on the ground.
Well, wouldn't you?
Yeah, if the Hulk
Helicopter
growls at me,
masters.
if the Hulk growls at me, I'm getting the fuck out of the way. If I'm a
Pretty much.
helicopter, hell yeah, I'm getting out of the air.
Yeah, like,
No,
sure, you're Hulk. You do what you want to.
pretty much.
It's like the Avengers movie. We have an army. We have a Hulk.
Yeah, that pretty much trumps an
He
army.
smash you into the ground.
You need gods. So Kev, what games have you been playing this week?
I played Doom. Oh my god, Doom is amazing. I'm loving Doom. I'm enjoying it. But we got to get these children out of here, man. They called it a Halo knockoff. That shit broke my heart, bro. They
Sorry,
said it was bouncing off Halo.
I heard that you said that you played, Halo Demon Edition, and I and decided to inhale my coffee because I was so shocked by. I didn't think you were that much of a Halo fan.
What made you think I wasn't a Halo fan?
I'm sorry, I got it confused. It's actually Halo Gears of War Edition.
Yeah. No,
That's Doom.
no, you mean Gears of War and Halo bit off Doom.
Yeah,
Let's get it right.
but let's revisionist history here. Doom is ripping off, Gears of War. It's like it's a combination of Gears of War and Halo.
Only if you're 19.
Only if you're 20 and in Florida.
Yeah, I'm like, if you're under 20, if you're over 25 and saying this shit,
He'll be 21 in a couple of days, and then his whole world will change. he's like, I'm not even gonna respond to that.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
I have no words for you right now.
So, by the way, in the notes here, or in the comments, we're gonna go ahead and post the address for Travis, and then I want everybody to just mail him alcohol. I want him to be swimming in alcohol.
And bitches.
And of course, I mean that with a little asterisk of I'm not actually gonna post his address anywhere.
I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine. I will build some shelving, some really nice, intricate wood burn shelving, and I will make a post on Reddit.
Ooh, Reddit, that place.
It'll get upvoted twice.
It'll get upvoted by the angry people.
And no,
Reddit-
you gotta.
Reddit
Nobody
is
will
a
come find it.
fantastic
There's a lot of
you
angry
gotta
people on Reddit.
You gotta understand the karma game, man. Like, I've got so much karma, it's insane.
See, I'm just saying, I went on Reddit and asked somebody to help me with the issue on my PS4 and got cursed out because they saw I was on the PC gaming Reddit. They never helped me with my issue. They just cursed me out for having a PC.
Yeah, I had someone get butthurt because I got a bunch of link karma for posting a couple of my videos up there, which
Oh, I got banned from the PC gaming Reddit too for apparently when you post your own videos or someone else's videos, that's okay, but posting your own is a ban.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that the quote unquote Reddicate is and this is Reddit wide. They generally want you to post 10 of your own comments for every one video or link that you post of any kind. Technically, it doesn't matter if it's your video or not. They technically want you to post for any link 10 text posts. The problem is that there are some people that I see blatantly abuse that. And then there's some people that they maybe post one text comment every now and then. So people think that they're typing in text. Or you have some people that will be moderating one subreddit and don't see that because the whole site-wide thing is I post text comments anywhere, technically, and then I can post one link. The thing is if I'm posting a bunch of text stuff everywhere else, and then I post a video somewhere, someone may get butthurt because they don't see me posting in text there. And
Right, yeah, that's part of what happened with me, and then I got single, and then I had a individual mod or admin or however they label it come after me personally, and then when I asked the other ones about it, they never responded. They just let me go back and forth with that guy.
Yeah, it's not surprising. But some of those guys get kind of
Defensive.
I wasn't gonna say defensive. I was gonna say egotistical. They get a bit.
That's a better word for
They
it.
have an inflated sense of self importance, and
Yeah.
we just lost Travis. So now your camera's all screwy.
No.
So congratulations, Kev.
Peasantry.
It's just me and you on the podcast today. Travis has decided to
High
leave because he didn't
level
like it.
peasantry.
So did you get a chance to play any other games other than that
Uh,
Halo clone?
I've been playing. I'm still playing 2K. Still playing COD. Played a little bit of Far Cry Primal, but mostly I've been just putting my monitor through its paces. Like we said last week, and I got that 1440p monitor,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm really starting to, I guess, feel the effects of it. Like I went back and I played The Crew a little bit last night at 1080p 60, and I felt a distinct difference between playing at 120 hertz, which is what I've been playing at for everything I can, and going back to 60. Like I feel and notice the difference now.
Yeah, I was gonna
I'm
say,
starting.
which and just even though we were talking about it before, we'll throw it out there kind of on the podcast because it's something good to talk about in general. Which do you feel like was the more significant change, going from 1440p resolution down to 1080p resolution, or going from 120, 144 hertz and 144 frames per second down to 60? Which
Which
you,
I feel is more significant.
yeah, which was more noticeable?
Um, I would say the resolution because it always even then it depends on the game. Like some
Mm-hmm.
games, the bump in resolution makes little to no difference. Like say NBA 2K or
Mm-hmm.
WWE 2K, like especially sports games. Where there's not a lot going on the screen. The textures already look like they're
Fully loaded.
well, yeah, they already look like they were put through the paces. You could tell it's a definite console port.
Mm-hmm.
Games like that, the bigger resolution doesn't make a huge deal. Sometimes on older games, the better resolution is nice. Like I tried it with COD 4 and it looked really nice. Tried it with Mass Effect 3 and it looked really nice. But then the resolution or the frame rate, again, it depends on the game. Like Far Cry, I can handle that at 60. I can handle that at 30. But go play COD, and I don't think I want to go back to playing COD at 60.
Yeah,
I
like
love playing at 120, 144.
yeah. See, usually the generalization that I hear is that first person games are usually more apt to or feel better at higher frame rates,
It
as
depends.
opposed to and that's where Far Cry Primal, despite being a first
Look,
person
man,
game, apparently is better at lower frames. What was that, Travis?
I tell you what, man. As a as a Vanguard player in Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, frame rate like frame
Oh
rate
yeah.
drops and low frame rate.
Hosting matters when you're playing
Yeah,
the Vanguard in there.
hosting matters a lot
Good
too.
God, good God,
Yes, it does.
Bioware,
The the
don't
crap
do that peer to peer
the,
crap.
the crap part about trying to play with that monitor on Mass Effect, it's all capped VSync at 60 frames a second. So I basically there aren't really any graphical settings in the Mass Effect series. You pick a resolution, you can turn on anti-aliasing. I think it's like 2 times MSAA,
Yeah.
or it's like some really low level anti-aliasing,
Yep.
and that's basically all you get. And brightness. There's not a lot going on in the graphical settings in that way. So in that respect, I lost my train of thought. I got distracted. And in that respect, like I said, so for something like Mass Effect, yeah, I just take the higher resolution.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm hoping that when Bioware comes out with Andromeda, first of all, they have more graphical settings for PC players, because let's be honest, that's unacceptable nowadays. So I guess we're trading off, and now Travis is the one here. But the other one on there that I kind of am hopeful for is the fact that they actually um, they have no more peer-to-peer hosting crap, because that's something that bugs the shit out of me. Is like I couldn't play I couldn't play certain classes whenever I wasn't hosting, like Vanguard. you know.
Anything Vanguard, anything having to deal with like biotic grenades was really annoying. Um, anything if you were using like a non-hit scan weapon, that was annoying. Um,
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, there was a ton of things, and there's a lot of issues in general with it. And to be frankly honest, unfortunately, I don't think Bioware's going to do anything about it because that is a major expense to try to, set up some kind of better server hosting system.
Unfortunately, I feel like what was it? I can't even think right now. Dragon Age,
Inquisition.
Inquisition may have set that back some because the failure of the multiplayer there.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
what as an executive, when that fails, you have to be thinking, okay, like was Mass Effect 3 multiplayer just like a one-off, like a farce, right? Was it a um, just a coincidence that it happened to blow up the way that it did? You know, are we going to be able to do this again? You know, why put the money into it if we're not?
yeah. The thing is that unfortunately, when you get into a lot of the execs, unfortunately, a lot of the execs are desk jockeys. They're paper pushers. They know economical concepts, budgeting, marketing, sales figures, but they also oftentimes don't either. They don't get reports on actual feedback from players, or if they do, it's been curated to them by a third party. So it's like I'm the intern or whatever, and I'm community manager, and I'm looking at the forums. I see the stuff that I think is important to tell the decision makers, and then I submit that to them. The executives or decision makers, like creative director and stuff like that, are not always looking at the forums, which is an unfortunate failure of communication. And I feel like, to be honest with you, that was a lot of the issue that Inquisition had. And I feel like it's probably going to be a lot of the issue that Andromeda has, because they're going to be like, oh, the complaint they had was that they had that bug with the Destruction DLC, and it's like that was one issue of a lot of flaws in that game, like the regionalization of matchmaking, so horrible in Inquisition.
Yeah, I almost don't mind the regionalization because I don't like lag.
Well, the thing is on Mass Effect 3, um, the degree of distance away from another player versus the amount of lag you would get based upon that distance was much, much more severe in Dragon Age, which tells me their netcode was crap, and they did that regionalization to try to disguise the fact that their netcoding was horrible. That's what it strikes to me, is it was just a big cover up essentially, because with Mass Effect 3, yes, you could get lag. Did a lot of factors in there. Could be your connection, could be their connection, and the distance between you two. But playing with someone, I played with people in England a lot, and some in Spec Ops. I was playing with them all the time. I played with people West Coast, East Coast, all over the place. Never experienced, like, there was some noticeable lag. Like I said, you wanted to be on host if you were playing like a Vanguard. No matter if the person was sitting right next to you, you still wanted to be on host for that.
Oh yeah,
But the thing is that Dragon Age Inquisition, if the person wasn't located in the same region of the United States as you were, or wasn't located in England with you, your everything tanked so badly. It was so horrible. And like there was people that like one of the three people that played Dragon Age Inquisition in Brazil could barely play with anybody. And just a little side note there to Kinsley. We started on time today. You're late this time.
yeah.
Anyway, so moving on. Travis, have you played any games this week?
Oh, what have you done? Oh,
Just set it up. Just set it up.
Mhm.
no, no. Oh,
He clicks off his camera. We broke Travis, everyone. Congratulations.
you made me laugh, and then I tensed my foot, and now I have a cramp. Oh.
Good job.
Like I said, we broke Travis, everyone. Give
You've been
yourselves a
playing
high
Ferrari
five.
again.
I'm back.
He's retired from
I've been
Dota. You heard it here first.
I've
Yep.
been failing. I've been failing at Don't Starved. That's what I've been doing.
Don't Starve? Come on, that game's great. Is it Don't
Don't
Starve or
Starve is
Don't Starve
awesome.
Together?
Don't Starve.
Oh, okay.
It's a single player right now.
Yeah, Don't Starve Together is actually a lot of fun, though. But yeah, so what have you been doing in that you've been failing at?
Mostly angering the tree gods.
That is highly unfortunate. Well, I would recommend to pray to the tree elves to take forgiveness on you. Anyway,
I didn't get a tree elf spawn near me, so like I don't know what to do. Like the trees are, it's like, yeah, they're alive and they're chasing me. And it's not fun.
to
See, I
throw.
haven't gotten that far and Don't Starve to get there. I usually die like on the second night.
Oh, they can appear on like the first day.
Okay, so I just haven't
If
been.
you
I've
get
been
if you
fortunate.
get unlucky, yeah, you just been fortunate.
Yep, pretty much. I know. Anyway, that's a fun game though. You
No,
just-
yeah, I enjoy it when
I
I
really,
play it.
I really, really like the aesthetic and the music choices for it. I think it's really, really good. Like the
Oh, yeah,
the,
I love
the
the aesthetic.
entire like art and sound design of that game is very, very cohesive and just really well thought out.
Yeah, I wish we had more big budget games that took inspiration from that.
Have you
Because
guys?
I love my big budget AAA titles.
Did you guys see the? Honestly, like Don't Starve has a pretty big budget. Like they've Don't Starve, which already is a pretty large game, you know, with expansive options, and then they came out with the Reign of Giants DLC, and then they came out with a shipwrecked DLC, which is like you're on deserted islands basically, and
Mhm.
it just changes the entire game and tosses it on its head. And then they have Don't Starve Together, which is complete multiplayer revamp.
Yep.
So like they
Now,
put a
isn't like
lot-
isn't together multiplayer co-op
yeah. All
yeah,
right.
it's cool.
or is it competitive?
I don't think it's competitive. Last I checked, it was co-op.
No, like the point of Don't Starve is to like
Survive
No.
against the elements.
is to survive, right? So
Yeah.
and I guess you can technically complete a storyline of some sort, but
But the point is, it's a survival game, similar to like say Ark or Rust or
I'm not sure how I feel about comparing
That's just
those
a-
games. But
no.
I
I'm
guess
talking
it's
about in
similar.
sense of surviving,
Yeah, it's similar
crafting
premise.
elements.
It's a similar
Like I played Don't Starve. I own Don't Starve.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would say in that respect. Not saying, like, oh, it's just like Minecraft. It is nowhere nothing like Minecraft or Ark. It's
Yeah.
outside of the fact that you're, holding resources and
But
using them to survive.
they also have, on the new note of survival games, the culling is still amazing though. It's essentially like it's where I feel those survival horror games actually to me make the most sense, because essentially took the whole like kind of like Ark Rust, survival horror, building your stuff, or sorry, not survival horror, but survival adventure games, and it threw it into like a Hunger Games scenario where you and like 12 other contestants are in this kind of like jokey, campy like death match, where they kind of make it seem, like I said, it kind of has a lot of the feel of Hunger Games, where it seems a little bit, it's too campy for its own good in some cases, and yeah. So
While we're bringing up survival horror games, it is actually interesting. I think Don't Starve and to an extent State of Decay are like the best two like survival crafting games that also happen to do horror I can think of.
yeah.
I love State of Decay. I like Don't Starve too, but I think of like games I guess that I would consider like survival games, State of Decay is probably still my favorite.
I'm not a big fan of the genre in general. The ones I tend to enjoy, I'll tell you what my favorite survival horror game is, The Elder Scrolls Skyrim, with realistic needs and diseases, Frostfall, Hunterborn, and
But what about
Requiem.
the Oregon Trail?
No,
Everybody loves that survival game.
no, but like when you install Requiem and all those mods on there, it's like you first start at level 1, you're like, hey, look, it's a little rat, it's a little skeever, or it's a mud crab. I'm just gonna go kick that guy's ass, and then he rapes you, and you're like, this is not cool. This is not.
I honestly feel like a survival horror, like that kind of like survival horror genre, would play better against like human opponents, like people that are skulking around about to shoot you or something.
That's basically The Last of Us.
That's
Like,
basically most of the games out there, like Rust and all that. Pretty much a bunch of trolls.
Yeah, DayZ's like that.
Yep.
Well,
Bunch of
at
trolls
least
that
with
are
something
waiting
like,
for you to let your guard down so they can rape you.
I mean, at least with The Last of Us, yeah, you still have the zombies and the effect of it and everything, but it's the humans that you have to really worry about.
Yep.
It took basically like the whole formula from The Walking Dead and made it their own.
Yeah, really, I like to call it Oz Simulator. And I don't mean Oz as in Alice, or yeah, that's the one. I don't mean like the one mystical place. I mean Oz as in the prison, because it's pretty much just a who's gonna get raped simulator. Don't fall asleep.
Don't fall asleep. Don't drop the soap. That ass is mine.
Yeah, that's what those games feel like to me. I'm just not a big fan of them because it's encouraging the worst of people in general.
Right. That's why I love the premise of like H1Z1 and DayZ, but I don't like that. Like there's not enough zombies, and there's a lot of PvP, which I'm just like, I'm not really interested in that.
Well, it's not just PvP. It's like PvP in like some of the worst setup environments you can possibly do. And the thing is, like Ark, you can have people that are trolling you, coming and breaking in and taking all your animals and stuff, or killing all your animals just for fun, just for giggles.
Yep. That's actually what got me to stop playing Ark. When they killed, me and Major were playing it, and they killed all of my animals, and and it took forever to tame them too.
Yep.
I had a turtle, named it Donatello. It took me like almost an hour to tame the damn thing. Then I had to get off for the night, came back, and Joe was telling me he found Donatello dead.
Mm-hmm.
And they scavenged our camp and everything.
Yeah.
It was Joe or Jeremy. I don't remember which one told me. But I saw that, and I'm like, man, I'm done. I can't do it no more.
I'm just not. It's not too keen on the whole like makes you spend a ton of time in building something up, only to have some little pissant come and wreck it in 5 minutes. Now,
wreck it while you're at work.
While you're at work. Now, if it was something like like some kind of medieval real-time strategy simulator where you spend a bunch of time building up a fortress, and then people were supposed to try to raid that fortress to see if they could break in, see if they could break the defenses, blah blah blah.
Wasn't there a game about that already?
There's been a few like tower defense games sometimes do PvP like that.
There was it was a really older, like not not good graphics one that had a similar idea. I can't remember the name of it though.
I wish if they did have games with those kind of mechanics, that they would make it so that you have immunity when you're not online.
Yeah, the thing is when you're doing like the survival horror thing, I feel like it should. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the idea of like a game that's super realistic where if I'm in the game, like my character is constantly in the game, and it's just that whenever I log out, my character just goes to sleep. Mind you, goes to sleep wherever I log out. So if I log out in the end, he goes up in a bed and lays down. But if I log out in the middle of the forest, yep, my ass is just laying in the middle of the forest.
That's
what I want to know is what kind of survival horror games the PlayStation 4K is going to offer.
It's going to offer the same game. PlayStation 4K is going to be basically the same games.
Yeah,
they just play them a little better.
It's just gonna have the.
How about the Xbox 2?
We're actually going
to debunk that.
We're gonna get to that in a moment after I talk about the games I haven't played this week.
Oh, you haven't played games. We're 36 minutes in. Skip Morty's games.
Fair enough. I've been outvoted on there because I don't really have a whole lot to talk about anyway. So, moving on to our first story, and in all of its glory. So this week we've had Phil Spencer. Well, first of all, there was PlayStation 4K, and then a bunch of people came and was like, "Oh, Xbox, yeah, we're gonna have an Xbox 1.5 or 1.5," and Phil Spencer was like, "No, don't expect that. It's probably not gonna happen." He's not a big fan of iterative consoles of the same generation. So essentially, do you guys think that possibly will mean that they are either further along in developing an Xbox 2, or do you feel like it's just the investment of making a 1.5 would be kind of a lost cause given the PlayStation 4's market advantage?
I don't know. I'm thinking it's more so, if anything, they're working on a slim model, which will probably play the games a little better.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm kind of with Phil on you buy a console because it's consistent. Consoles are about consistency, safety. PC is kind of about, you get to innovate, you get to customize it, you get to do more what you want with it. If you want, the problem I'm seeing here with a lot of these arguments, and especially on the internet, people want the features of a PC and all the things that come on a PC, but they want it in a console. But the reason you can get all these things on a PC is mostly because they're costly. A lot of them are costly.
They're costly, and you got to put in the time and effort.
Right, and but they don't want to pay $1,000 for a console. So like, you can't pay $300 for a console and then expect 4K. That's unrealistic.
So like, has there been any price point announcements on the PlayStation 4K?
$1,000.
Well, the PlayStation 4K is only going to do 4K media.
No,
are you serious?
No.
Yeah, it's only doing 4K media.
Well, no. The thing is no, I'm not being serious. It's not going to be $1,000. That would price them out of the market.
I was about to say, like, Sony should know. Like, they got to be careful about this. Like, throwing out new technology that they put a bunch of R&D into or whatever.
The thing is I suspect we won't see it until the rumor is that it will be launched Q1 of 2017. That's the rumor.
Well, Sony did confirm that its existence.
Yes, but not when it's releasing, its price, or really anything else.
You think Q1? I would think.
No, that's the rumor. Is Q1.
Screw Q1. If that's the case, go for Q4 and get your money.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that Q4, I imagine they would probably want to release it, because that's usually when all the consoles do their kind of refresh model, like the Slim model or whatever, or in PlayStation 3's case, when they said, you guys don't need to play backwards compatible games.
Oh yeah, they said that on the 4. And they took it away on the 3.
Yeah,
and then did it on 4.
It was the first Christmas after PlayStation 3 was released. They said, you guys don't need backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
Oh, Sony.
They didn't want to put the money into. See, and what's funny is that I would have probably been pissed if that would have been me. Because I was a PlayStation head up until the 360. And the only reason I got a 360 was because I thought that PlayStation 3 price tag was offensive. At $600, I'm like, man, I don't want to pay that. Like, I was fresh out of my parents' house. I couldn't afford that.
And that's the funny thing is that how the tables got turned. But yeah, the thing is,
now I have a PC.
Well, no. That the next generation after that PlayStation comes out as the cheaper model at launch. And
it feels like they took each other's business practices from last generation and flipped them at the beginning of this one.
Yeah.
Like, I think, what's his name? Don Matrick, his head got really, really big after the success of the 360. Thought they could do no wrong. You want to play offline? Get an Xbox 360. Microsoft is still eating those words 3 years later.
Yep. Because that was something that was just like, what? Are you serious?
Yeah. Like, the majority, I think that's how, like, it takes that big of a, like, when the gaming community, like, weird things sometimes set them off, but a lot of times the gaming community can be really just like, what's the word? Apathetic about, a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they might complain every once in a while about stuff, but they'll never really, like, do anything about it. Like, like Microsoft messed up so bad.
Microsoft messed up so bad. I absolutely, to this day, adore the Xbox 360. They messed up so bad that they had me thinking after that reveal, let's look at a PC. I I didn't think I was going to be able to find a PS4, and the launch titles for the PS4 weren't really interesting to me outside of Infamous. So I was like, let me build a PC. And then eventually,
Well,
of course, I found a PS4.
if you remember, we actually, I'm pretty certain it was either me and you or possibly Major and some other guys actually watched the reveal together on Xbox Live. And we were like,
Uh,
what?
yeah, I remember that.
what
I remember I remember 'cause I was in the party and I was the only one that was kind of enthused. I liked the features, but I was like, where are the games?
Yeah, it did not, like, there was some stuff that was interesting, but I was just,
Titanfall?
yeah, this it's like people show me previews. Look at this game. It's called Evolve. And so, get this.
Oh, I thought Evolve was trash when the first time I saw it. Bro.
You're going to hunt monsters.
Nah,
And by hunt monsters, we mean you don't actually kill them. You just spend the entire time chasing them around.
Well,
Wait, what?
yeah, they made it sound like it was going to be this big Monster Hunter fighting game, and the only thing I thought was,
What are we
okay,
talking
how are
about?
people going to exploit this?
No, I'm essentially saying I was as enthusiastic about the Xbox One release as I was when I saw the announcement for Evolve. And I'm like,
I was about to say like Monster. Like I heard Monster Hunter, and I just instantly like perked up and like, whoa, what now?
Monster
I was calling Evolve like a Monster Hunter game.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you're hunting monsters.
you spend the entire
Not the actual
game
IP
is
Monster
awesome.
Hunter.
yeah.
I never played the actual IP.
The thing is Evolved. You spend the entire time hunting the monster, not actually killing it. Running Simulator 2014, whatever.
And
Anyway,
I'm amazed how many people bought that too, because I played the alpha and the beta. That's the first thing I got out of it. We're chasing this monster nonstop until he gets strong enough to destroy us, because he's kind of OP toward the end.
yeah,
But you can't catch him.
that's pretty
That's
much
not
it.
fun.
Nope, it did not seem entertaining to me at all, and that's why I was just kind of like, nope. And funny enough, just like Titanfall, people played it for like a week. It's a good premise, just not a lot of depth. That's all.
My only problem was I wanted more guns and Titans. If I had more to play with, I would have been good.
Yeah.
Like Titanfall seems like one of those things, like one of those problems with gaming, in that you get stuck in a price, the whole $60 price paradigm, and you won't go any lower. Titanfall was 60 when it came out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like maybe at like 40, it probably would have sold better.
It wasn't just 60.
Well,
It was 60. Didn't it have a season pass too?
yes, it did, but it was just maps that they eventually gave out for free at the 1-year anniversary.
Yeah. Did they refund the people that bought the season pass?
Nope. Because I bought the season pass on PC, did not see a dime.
Yeah. So there's that. There's that. Yeah, I wouldn't even give it $30, Sean.
I loved the game. I thought the game was a great game. It just needed more guns and Titans.
The premise
They gave you a shit ton of maps. I also think they gave you too many maps.
Yeah, they kind of took. See, that's the funny thing is with what I noticed with like Call of Duty, at least my experience in like Modern Warfare 3, for example, is that Modern Warfare 3, they gave you off the bat a bunch of guns, like all these damn guns of all kinds of varieties and stuff.
That's what COD does. It gives you a ton of guns and attachments.
And then like whatever 5 maps or whatever to start off, and then they have their map packs that release it. Well, it's like Evolve like wanted to do that, but they failed at the part that Call of Duty gives you a bunch of guns at the start and then gives you a bunch of maps later on.
I felt like Evolve could have made a really, really fun co-op single player or something like that. Like rather than having the entire thing just be like monster versus human multiplayer, have like a single player co-op human chase down the monster AI like story mode.
Well, they actually do. They do have an AI mode in there.
But it's not like completely narrative driven, right?
No.
Right, no.
Which is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like having Call of Duty has the multiplayer, and then they have.
Well, there's a lot in there. See, the thing is, both Titanfall and Evolve, in my opinion, were proof of concept games. They both had great, innovative ideas to them, Like, for example, Evolve was a great example of an asymmetrical PvP game. And I actually love that idea. I want to see more of those. They're very fascinating to me, how you kind of balance out the super powered one person versus the diverse team of four people sort of thing. I love that idea, but it was literally like, hey, look at this thing that can be done. And then you have your Titanfall, which is essentially your like another proof of concept. Like, hey, we've got this two scale system of gameplay where you have the Titans and you have the soldiers, but it's not just a soldier versus soldier and then Titan versus Titan. No, you can go both ways, and you would think that the Titan would have the upper hand in that case. Not really. The soldiers oftentimes were at a better advantage to take down Titans than even other Titans were.
It depends. Like,
Yeah.
I play better with the Titans. I want to go back to the point we were talking about, though. We were talking about value proposition. We brought up Call of Duty and how these other games screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that what a lot of people miss about Call of Duty, there is so much value in that game. You have the single player, and you have the single player. Sometimes they used to be like 3 hours. Now they're starting to get to, where they're like the 8 hour campaign. So, you get a pretty decent link campaign for a first person shooter.
And I'll play a Call of Duty campaign multiple times too, because
Yep, and then you also get the co-op mode. So, like, one thing I'll say about COD Ghosts, the thing that saved it for me, I loved the Extinction Aliens mode, where it was just a horde mode against not zombies, but aliens. Most people love zombies. Zombies is cool. I like zombies too, but I prefer Extinction. I love Extinction, and you have that, and you can play that for hours on hours again. It's really challenging. And then they have the multiplayer, where they'll start you off with like 20 guns. And then usually have like a bunch of attachments for them. Not Battlefield level attachments, like many of them, but you have a bunch of attachments. And you can mix and match with them, and all the guns play a little bit differently. And then there's a bunch of different challenges you can go for. So there are so many different ways you can play Call of Duty. And that's what makes it successful. There's a lot in the package. So it's like, for these developers, I wish they would, if you're going to copy Call of Duty, look at the value proposition there.
There's some like little things in Call of Duty, like something I thought was really genius. I don't know if they still do it, but in a couple of the games they did, was like they had that side mission where you like ran through the shooting course for a time, for like go as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Like, I spent so much time trying to beat records on that. It was so much fun.
Well, and the thing is that the reason why Call of Duty has been like kind of doing the same thing is because they have a damn good formula going on things. Is that essentially they have this very simplistic platform with which they can just alter things. Pretty much the most development that goes into Call of Duty, honestly, is their maps. They redesign them, like just make new maps within the same engine mostly. And it's actually like a good system, because it actually does. It's a good opportunity for a $60 value proposition, pretty straight up.
The maps. They put a lot of time into the maps.
Oh, I'm sorry. They also do the single player. Obviously does have a lot of development in it too. So
yeah. The single player takes a lot, but that's kind of what you brought up too when you talk about just the multiplayer. That's I think that's the thing where people mess up about Call of Duty, is they only think about the multiplayer.
Yeah. And the single players are damn good quality, which is why I always make the statement whenever someone's like, "Oh, this game is multiplayer only, and it has, like, for example, Battlefront. Yes, you got it for cheaper, so your value proposition on there was more in line of what I think it was. But like,
I paid the same amount for Call of Duty and Battlefront. Call of Duty was a way better value proposition.
Yeah, but like $30 for Battlefront, one thing. But like, whenever you're looking at $60 for Battlefront, multiplayer only without a lot of depth, I kind of feel like you're getting screwed there, because even Call of Duty takes the damn time to make a single player game, and their multiplayer had more depth to it than Battlefront did. So it kind of felt like Battlefront was just playing off the media hype for the new Star Wars that was coming out.
And don't forget about zombies. Because zombies on Call of Duty is great.
Yeah, well,
And the co-op modes in general.
yeah, there's so much in those games. There's so much variety, so much stuff you can do, despite it being the gameplay loop itself being rather samey from one game to the next. There's still just a ton of stuff in there that they alter the maps and add in a new story to go
And change the guns a little bit.
and alter the guns, make the guns look a little bit different. Oftentimes they don't even make them act really any different.
That depends. Like, I can't think of another Call of Duty. And keep in mind, I've only played like 4 of them. I can't think of another gun that acts like the Bal 27.
Yeah.
Or even the ICR in Black Ops 3. I can't think of any guns in any of the other CODs I played that feel like those.
Yeah. Now the thing is with Sean on there of increasing the map size and adding more players onto it. The premise of Call of Duty's standard multiplayer system is honestly it's what's known as an arcade shooter. It is not meant to be a more tactical design shooter. Like if you want a tactical shooter, Arma
Well, there's a. Go ahead.
I was going to say that's the hyper realistic. You don't run around, you will get your ass handed to you. Whereas Call of Duty is meant to be twitch, fast paced, quick matches, forcing you into the combat, no sitting around on your haunches type of thing.
Well, I think also the difference is that Sean, and I just know this just from knowing Sean, he plays Battlefield. That's like basically all he plays, really.
Yeah.
And that was his first person shooter got into. Was, I think he said Battlefield 4, maybe Battlefield 3. So his scale on there is a little different. Like where I remember I brought him onto Advanced Warfare, and he didn't like it. The maps were too small. Everyone's right there. I don't feel like I have time to breathe. He tried Black Ops 3. He said he found it stressful because it's go, 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 go. It's ADHD. And that's actually kind of what I love about, I love the close quarters combat. When I play Battlefield, I always try to put myself in close quarters combat anyway. You know, if I can find a way to make Battlefield play close quarters a little bit more like COD, because that's what I prefer is the close quarters combat without kill streaks, because kill streaks are okay. I wish there was a mode in Call of Duty without kill streaks, but I know most of the COD community will find that to be boring.
Yeah.
I love that, but Battlefield doesn't do that very well.
Yeah.
And I think what he wants is for COD to be a little more like Battlefield.
Which, the thing is I kind of unfortunately, despite my having a disdain for kind of Call of Duty in general, because I don't know, I've played enough of it. I've got my fill. I'm good now. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that like whenever I played Ghost Recon Phantoms, for example, that is it's an arcade shooter in the sense that the maps are generally rather small, but it is also very much tactical. You do not really run and gun there, unless it's select situations. You run and gun, you'll get your ass handed to you 9 times out of 10.
And Battlefield is in that sense kind of the same way it's arcadey, but you have to be a little more tactical because the maps are so huge.
Yeah, the thing is that you are able in Battlefield to kind of play by the seat of your pants a little bit, but it has, instead of being more arcadey, like, forcing you into that claustrophobic box to try to keep the action going all the time. That's the idea of Call of Duty, is keep that action level high. You don't want lulls in the action. You want to always have someone in your face all the time.
Right, and that's what I love about Call of Duty.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is that with Battlefield, that since you spread it out, you get a lot of lulls in the action. You have travel time where it takes you some amount of time just to get to the point you need to. And then you have, like I said, Arma. Arma has huge lulls in actual fight, to the point where people actually just make up their own games to play in that game. But the thing is it's so hyper realistic, has realistic physics on everything, and realistic, you get shot in the head once, you're done no matter what. Doesn't matter what game mode you're playing on, you're done. That one's kind of the opposite end of Call of Duty. It is extremely hyper realistic on everything.
Right. I would even say to the point where when I look at something like Rainbow Six Siege, where you were talking about, you like the tactical shooters.
Yeah, that's
Siege
very
bored the hell
tactical.
out of me. It's claustrophobic, close quarter shooting, but you spend so much time looking for people. I feel like I'm playing peekaboo,
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of people.
that was boring for me. That was extremely boring for me for
Mm.
Siege. But I
Did you
think that
play
might
it?
be actually right up Morty's alley because it's a lot more tactical.
Did you play
Which
it
me,
by
I like running.
yourself? Did you play it by yourself, Kev? Like, did you just go into pug matches and play it by yourself?
I played a bit with Jeremy. I played a bit with my boy Josh. Just couldn't get into
Like,
it.
there's a certain way that like I found that those games you can really, really like connect with them and make it more fun is whenever you like directly work with another person. Like it's not just like
Yeah.
your usual team game that you think of. Like, you've played team games before. You know how to work with a team, right? No, this
Right.
is you gotta make this like closer knit. Like you gotta like communicate directly with the other guy. Like, hey, let's go this corner. Stack up at the door. Let's do this and
Right. Yeah,
that.
you
And
got to talk it out,
that's
similar to like
what
Counter
makes.
Strike.
Yeah, that's how I played Rainbow Six Vegas 2, like the terrorist hunts and stuff. Me and my buddy
Mhm.
did that. We did terrorist hunts over and over and over again, and just playing it out like that, doing the tactical situation. That's what made it fun, not
Oh yeah.
less the actual gameplay and more the interaction between us and the game
Right.
facilitating that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hear you. That's like the Division is kind of like that too, where it's a lot of fun when you have a team.
It's a lot of fun when you want to spend 5 hours shooting at a guy in the head. Um, sorry, I'm. It's the game
Morty is
looks
very salty
great.
against the Division. I
I
got bored with the Division though. I only hit like level 10.
I
for
am
the
so
game.
salty because I have a lot of respect for the Tom Clancy franchise, and I feel like Ubisoft just went and took a piss on it.
I feel
Right.
like there's a running trend of us just like ripping on games that Kev plays.
No, not always. Not
No, like
always.
I said, I actually love the way that it
Uh.
looks. It looks great. The guns look great. It actually feels pretty good, except for I really think they just should have taken the movement system out of Ghost Recon Phantoms. Come on, you guys already own all of that property. It's still Ubisoft. In fact, I'm pretty certain it's probably the same development studio. My
And in
point
fact,
is,
to Travis's point too, we're not ripping into games I like. 'Cause like I said, I got bored of the Division very
Yeah.
quickly. I only hit like level 9 or 10.
yeah, gameplay
I
loop
got
on
bored
there
really fast.
is pretty dry. But one of the things, and I think we can kind of roll this whole realism thing on there into our next topic, which we're going to do here in a moment. But I want to kind of trail off of this topic here. We kind of diverted into of like that whole semblance of what you're looking for out of a game does vary greatly depending on the person you talk to.
Right.
Some people want something that's more methodical, or so maybe slower, maybe not. Because I mean, Siege, it's still fairly fast paced, but it still feels like it has a certain slowness because you're looking for people as opposed to the people are going to be in these areas no matter what.
Right. Yeah, I like going to the save points.
At the same time, Ghost Recon Phantoms, with that one, you also had to constantly be communicating where are the enemies, where are you. Although with where are your teammates, there was actual visual cues to help you with that. You had the kind of Ghost Recon style, little AR, elements into the HUD that pointed out where your teammates were, so you could always see them. And you could also mark enemies and that sort of thing as well. So it kind of gave you that additional information that's kind of in the post-futuristic soldier experience type of thing. But taking that and moving into the whole realism segment. So there was an article written by GamerRanks, of all people, the top 10 games that do this. Which I usually don't have much respect for that because it bores me. But they actually made a damn good video on bullet physics. And one of the things I absolutely loved about the way they wrote this up is they explained like what's the difference between, hit scan or interpolated bullets and that sort of thing. And it was, and just for anybody not knowing, games originally had hit scan, which just more means it's a mathematical equation in the game engine that says you fire a gun, in this direction. Is person in way of bullet? Yes, no. Okay, if yes, hit. If no, miss. It was a very simple system, and it created what's known as hit scan. So that there was no delay in that. In any case, though, the major thing that they changed in more recent games, like when I was talking about Arma and those sort of games, is you actually have weathering effects on the game, like weather, wind, that sort of thing. Battlefield does a bit of the bullet drop and wind effects. I don't think you get huge examples of like weather affecting the bullet. Most of it's bullet drop, but
When you
anyway.
say bullet physics, I think CS:GO.
Um, that,
CS:GO with the patterns.
Uh,
CS:GO doesn't have a
CS:GO
huge.
patterns. Yeah, that's not really like
No, I'm talking about ballistics here. Like if I
like
fire at
pure
someone,
mathematical statistics.
yeah. When I'm talking about ballistics, I'm talking about like the physics of a bullet as it's flying through the air. Over time, it drops lower. Wind will blow that to the left or to the right. If it's raining, that changes the way it acts. That sort of thing.
Yeah, depending on the distance,
Like
wind pressure,
y-
curvature of the earth.
Yeah,
Like,
I hear you.
Sniper
I hear where you're
Elite
going.
obviously took a lot of that into account, and with new iterations of Sniper Elite, they've gotten more detailed into the physics of the bullet because that's kind of the whole premise of the game, right?
I thought it was to
Um,
shoot people in the nuts, but I've never played.
yes, you can, and that's the best part of that damn game.
I've been sitting on that game for a year and I have yet to play it. I need to
But
play. I need to find time to play it.
but
I'm
the
Sniper Elite 2 and 3.
and obviously you have like essentially though the question I want to go with here is well, we haven't seen anything that's still quite real world interaction with bullets because oftentimes that doesn't make very good gameplay, or at least in the opinion of the people developing the game. But my question to you guys is, what ways do you think that game bullet ballistics could evolve as technology for gaming improves?
I feel
And
like once, I think like eventually when we get to like where in terms of like processing power, it becomes like economical to use as like a gimmick or a not maybe not like gimmick isn't the right word, but like a selling point for your game. Because that's the thing about ballistics is like realistically speaking, it's all just mathematical formula that you can throw into it. You can toss into an engine, and if you read up on it and you understand how it works, it'd be relatively easy to implement with the technology we have right now.
mm,
Honestly, it's just having somebody, take the time and have the will and use the developing time for something that a lot of people would say is meaningless or silly or nonsensical. You don't need it. Um, Me personally, like realistic ballistic, even if it doesn't impact the game that much, or it's not really noticeable, just the fact that they have it and they put the time and the effort into learning how it works and implementing it would be a selling point for the game for me. It's
mm,
just like in movies and TV shows where they get the little details correct that especially there's a discussion of like Zootopia where like the um, like things where the headphones were in the animal's ears the right way, and like in certain scenes like you'd see the animals shifting cars into gear and stuff before pulling off. Little small details like that that take in animation, if you know anything about animation, would take quite a bit of time to do, and
yep,
most people aren't going to notice it, but
it's the
it
little things.
creates a cohesive game and it just makes everything feel better.
Mm. No, I agree with you. Have you ever played Arma before, or any of the Arma series?
It's been a long time, and I played it with my buddy.
Mm.
It wasn't really my thing. I think mostly because it just like it had a lot of stuff I enjoyed, but the gameplay wasn't like quite up to what I wanted,
Mm.
I guess.
At some point when we get you your new computer built, then we're gonna get you Arma 3, or and in that way we could show you some the way that the probably the best example of it they have right now. The problem is that the way that they have it right now implemented is what's known as interpolation, which essentially the bullet predicts its path in the next frame from where it's going. So bullets in frame 1, it knows that it's going to frame 2, so it draws itself into frame 2, and then frame 3 and frame 4 and so on. The problem with that is it is very difficult to add in realistic weathering effects, like how does rain affect because you're working out of frames here. How do you show the slowing of a bullet ever so slightly that can cause a bullet to tumble? Like how do you add that mathematics in there? And you have a lot of experience with guns, so I'm assuming at some point you might have run into the concept of a bullet tumbling in the air,
Yeah,
and how
yeah,
it ruins that. It ruins the ballistics.
Ruins the ballistics, helps with the actual damage to the body.
Yeah, and like I would love to see a game that actually has bullet tumble. And that's the thing, is that it would be great.
Thankfully, most of the time you don't want your bullet tumbling until it hits somebody.
Apparently, by the way, Kev, someone wants to know why a certain person of a certain race is with two people of an opposing race. I'm deleting out the expletives out of there.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on here.
Yeah. Anyway. Anyway.
Someone with the banhammer.
Yep, I timed him out. You can take 5 and then come back. But yeah, so what do you think, Kev? What's your opinion? Do you even notice bullet physics? Because, obviously, you're a casual.
Not really that well, nah, not really. I don't notice very much. I think mostly it's because I play COD. I play COD, so it's literally aim for the head. Aim for the head, don't stop moving.
And I don't think bullet physics are for every game, right? I think bullet physics on small scale games, it's probably not worth the effort and the development time and the engine, stress to actually put it in primarily close quarters games.
What might be cool is, say, like, maybe you're in Battlefield and you hear a gunfight going on in the building, you shoot through the glass and maybe the glass shatters and maybe that does damage to the guy as well as bullets.
Well, actually, that goes back to what Morty was saying. Is a lot of times, if you, depending on like the caliber that you're using, etc., like hitting glass, that will cause a bullet to tumble and even go off course. Pretty dramatically. It loses a lot of
It also depends on the type of glass. Yeah,
it depends on the type of glass, and that is one of the things that's hard to implement is like deflections and stuff. That can be difficult to implement in an engine because it's less so straight up mathematics and more like random element going into it. Mm-hmm. It's easy enough to calculate wind and bullet drop and etc. It's more difficult to do things like that.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's something that they haven't quite. I feel like they haven't quite gotten a good beat on that, so to speak. So I hope at some point in the future, because the thing is that right now they might have hardware that's powerful enough to properly generate realistic physics on there. But that's something I've yet to see. There's a lot in there.
Hire some ballistics guys. Bring some ballistics guys onto a team, and honestly, because it's math based, you get somebody who understands ballistics and get in with somebody who knows how to code and also understands math. You could make it happen. It wouldn't be that difficult for quite a few aspects.
Well, as Zyphon was saying, is that one person really can't see the round going through the air in real life. And he was saying that essentially you don't need to live draw it. Well, the idea on that is that, doing the math, having the math in the engine, having the act of live drawing it, even though the person won't see it, will give that capacity for effects to be rendered in game. So, for example, you fire a gun through a heavy ass rainstorm, right? Not only are you looking at both the effect that it will have on the projectile and how it'll affect the aim, but also what effect the bullet has to the rain. Like, if you ever fired a gun in the rain, it's kind of a pretty little sight there. You get this nice little bloom going on because not only does it knock the rain out of the way, but also oftentimes, especially right around the barrel, it has such high heat that it actually will atomize a lot of the water vapor in the air right around where it fires. It's kind of a pretty sight, and you never really see that in a lot of games. The other thing I would love to see is an accurate depiction of a silencer, but that's another topic. Nobody actually does that.
topic.
How long do you have? I could
Because
go on. I could go on about that for a long time.
Yeah.
silence just you off the mini map.
Yeah, no. Silencers make your 50 caliber sniper rifle sound like a BB gun. Psst, psst, psst. That's not at all how it works in real life. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know. I find it interesting. I kind of am eager to see where that actual goes from there. Kev, did you have any final thoughts on where you'd like to see ballistics? Huh?
Y'all are the gun nuts, not me. So
No,
I
I'm
kept
just
my
talking-
mouth shut.
I'm just talking about gameplay in general. Do you enjoy the like? Have you ever? Did you say you played Sniper? Or no, you haven't played Sniper.
No, I know I own Sniper Elite, but I haven't gotten around to playing them yet.
Oh, okay. I don't know. It's always it's always interesting playing those games because they're kind of like a strategy game, unto themselves, I guess.
I just want to snipe shit.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Shoot people in the nuts and get to see their testicles in an X-ray shot. Their testicles exploding.
I'd rather not see testicles, but
Anyway, so let's go on and get moving on. Quantum Break, and Broken. Quantum Broken, I guess.
Damn, we're already declaring it broken. I mean, Killer Instinct.
It's actually not broken.
I actually had somebody tell me that Killer Instinct on PC is not broken.
Oh God.
Now, here's the thing with Killer Instinct. It works fine if you have just a plain 60 hertz monitor. But the shit's Speedy Gonzalez on my 144 hertz monitor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so fast that I can't really control it.
So I got downclock your monitor. It's too fast.
That's actually what I did. I ran some adaptive VSync on it. I know there's a way to change the mode on the monitor. I just from like 144 down to 60. I forget how to. So I have to look that up. I just haven't done it. But I know there is a way to actually do it in Windows.
Yeah. Well, the thing is though, going back to Quantum Break though, Killer Instinct is instinct. God, you can always make a derogatory name out of every video game out there. Quantum Broken, Killer Instinct. Anyway, so there's been a lot of talk about the lackluster release of Quantum Break, though. My question to you guys, though, is: do you guys actually think that that whole unique mixture that they did of mixing the TV show with the video game aspects, do you think that was partly to blame for why it wasn't well received?
Well, the reviews I saw said it was actually really well received, except GameSpot. Everybody else.
No, actually, its Metascore is like 78. So I mean it's average good, but it's by no means is it
I
like
mean, it at least looks good, right?
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see Tuesday when it comes out.
Yeah, the thing is, first of all, I applaud them for actually giving media outlets an early copy to actually give us an early frickin' review, as opposed to, I don't know, Shadows of Mordor and those games you can't release your review.
Shadow of Mordor was a great game to have that happen.
It was so
silly. It was so good.
They are so insecure. That's the problem. That was kind of disappointing. But
the game was so good.
Yeah. It really was. But the thing is that with Quantum Break, like there was a lot of stuff where people were saying the gunplay in that was kind of lackluster. It kind of felt janky. The interface was kind of a little weird and not really well fleshed out. And then there was also some comments I saw in another review, not GameSpot, another review that gave it a 6 out of 10 and said that they found the transition between gameplay and the live action elements to be excessively jarring.
Yeah, that was a worry of mine.
And then there was also some complaints that people had. Despite the choices you could make, like especially the villain choices that I outlined before, that I thought was a fascinating idea of essentially choose your villain, apparently don't make a whole lot of difference. That is unfortunate and kind of disappointing. But I kind of am curious because you only have so much resources you can put into the development of a game. And obviously when you have to do these live action bits, they probably of course hired a movie studio or a TV show studio to do that part, but just the act of writing it and having to fit it into the game takes a lot of resources that probably took away from the story writing and or gameplay elements. And
you think they did it like they would have done any other cutscene except for live recorded it?
Yeah, no, it's actually like a TV show episode, from what I understand. I have not actually seen those.
Okay, I get you because they're 20-minute episodes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's more like a, hey, here you go. And as far as I understand, I don't think there was any effect that you might have on them. I think the episodes were you had like probably episode 1A or 1B, depending on a choice that you might have made, and then episode 2A and 2B. And this was where people were talking about the choices you make didn't really feel very impactful because you probably had like one of a two choices.
The illusion of choice, like The Walking Dead.
Yeah, like you only had really two options on there, whereas in actuality, this would have taken a ridiculous amount of recording, and let's be honest, it wouldn't be very realistic in a game nowadays. If you really wanted to do it, is essentially you have a choice. The first choice splits it off into 2 places, and then you have another choice. Well, that second choice now breaks it off into 4 paths, and then the next choice, it's 8 paths, because anytime you can go back and choose the other way, it technically divides that by 2. So it's like literally by the end you could have 128 different endings, and no developer wants to try to tackle that, especially if you have to live record it.
Don't do any sequels. You may end up having Mass Effect 3-itis or even worse, Liliana in Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah, see, Mass Effect did it all right, though, honestly.
Yeah, but you could see they were starting to get overwhelmed with the choices.
Mm-hmm.
What you do is you take this and use it as an advantage to make multiple games.
Yeah.
which people aren't going to necessarily buy, and then that's just a waste of money.
Yeah, but what do you guys think? Do you think that this is something that people should continue doing? Based upon the kind of like some people saying that it was kind of jarring. Do you think there's a way to make this whole TV show video game hybrid scenario work? And if so, what way do you think it could work?
Like
I think it could work.
Like the jarringness might have been from badly implemented just like transition. Because I've seen it a lot of times with cutscenes in games. Like a lot of times they're really bad with transitioning gameplay to cutscene.
Yeah.
And even if the cutscene's good, that transition just like really sets you off. And then there's games with good transitions that are just nice.
Right. It can
I can't think of any
work.
off the top of my head, but I remember they're having.
I don't know if anybody
It
remembers back in the PS1 era, where there were, you actually had like live action cutscenes on some of these games, or they were computer generated. Otherwise, it would be all pixelated.
Mm-hmm.
And they made it work. So it's not like it has never been done before, not to this capacity. But I don't see why it couldn't work.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah. But in what way, Kev, do you would you like to see that sort of thing happen though? Like, how would you if you yourself were given the creative reins of a development studio? You didn't have to do any of the technical work yourself because you're the boss and you're important and stuff. But aside from that, how would you want to implement a TV show into a game? Like, would you do
I
what they
would.
did here?
I wouldn't do it with a full-on TV show. I
Mm-hmm.
would actually, like I said, just have live action cutscenes in the game itself. Though I think we're at a point now where the graphics are so good, you don't really necessarily need live action.
Yeah, that's true too.
Like
Well, live
Mocap, baby.
we're at a point now where games, a lot of them, you can do it seamlessly, and it still looks great.
Yeah,
I
mocap,
still think the
baby.
live action like component. I think the live action component it could be fun for like a live action show alongside a game, like an actual like television based show alongside the release of a game. Like what was the game that did
Defiance.
that? Yeah, like Defiance did. Which say what you will about the success of Defiance or its television show, like the idea was awesome and I thought the implementation was good regardless of the actual quality of the content itself.
I thought Defiance was fun. I liked the show. I just didn't have enough time to really like keep up with it the way I
Hmm.
wanted to.
I definitely understand that one. It's a lot of games for me. Um, yeah. What was that?
It's just sad now. I'm looking at it on Steam now, and there are only 489 people playing Defiance.
Yeah. Well, like there was it's going on Xiphon. Yeah, there was a Star Wars game that had live action cutscenes in it. Also, Red Alert. What is it? Command and Conquer. Red Alert had live action cutscenes. They were cheesy as shit, but glorious because you had Michael Ironside in there, and that's all that mattered. So, anyway. But yeah, let's go ahead and get moving on to our evergreen topic here. I'm talking about the games we like and stuff. But hey, let's talk about some psychology because that's fun stuff. So, in kind of gaming psychology, games can often be just as much stress inducing as they are stress relieving. Anybody who played Mario back in the day could attest to more than a few times of throwing your controller at the screen.
Actually, I've never raged at Mario.
I have some. But well, there's still a lot of games out there that are frustrating for a lot of people, to say the least. But given the nature of video games, kind of intended as a recreation to relieve stress, why do you guys think, or in your opinion, why do you think people want to play stress-inducing games?
I don't think people play just stress-inducing games necessarily on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I think they play games that they find interesting, and sometimes those games are stressful. And sometimes maybe they keep playing. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it like I have rage quit. I rage quit Unravel.
Yeah.
I like the game, but I'm not good with puzzles. I'm not a math guy. Like I struggle with math, and the fact that they're all physics based puzzles, and it is like Portal, but I feel like the puzzles in Portal were easier. I feel like you really had to catch the patterns really easily in order to do really well on Unravel.
Mm-hmm.
I rage quit the first time I played Dark Souls. And then but I got back on the horse, figured it out. Joe helped a lot with that too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's different games like that. But and then when Sean Stone, just because he's left now, he says Call of Duty is stressful. I don't find Call of Duty stressful at all. So I think it really depends on the person.
Yeah, no, that greatly depends. I mean, I would say not necessarily defining one game as stressful versus another. I guess I mean it more as if you found, like, for example, that you don't particularly care for puzzle games or what have you, but you want to play a puzzle game. Like, not necessarily that you're saying, "Hey, this game is going to stress me out." Hey, I want a game that stresses me out. No, more or less a game like you said, Dark Souls. Like you played it first and you just rage quit because it stressed you out, but then you came back to it. That would be the big one on there.
There, I've got something to say about this. So there's multiple types of stresses in games, right?
Mhm.
So you've got the ones you were talking about before with like puzzle games, which can be stressful, or like Dark Souls, which is generally, yes, they're stressful, but they're stressful in a way of like people search out accomplishment. Like we do all sorts of stressful things in our lives. We take on stressful hobbies, and we do it just for the
Rush.
reward of accomplishment.
That's why I love
Completing
Dark
something.
Souls is the
It's
accomplishment.
worth it.
And he was actually getting to the point that I was looking for, kind of as where I would go with it. Yeah.
Right. And then on the flip side, you have things like first-person shooters, which Kev, you say is not stressful, but like at least I don't know if it's like it might just be the way you play them, but the way I play them, I'm very competitive at it, and it's like it stresses my body out in the way that I like get a legitimate adrenaline high whenever I get into the zone in a shooter.
Oh, so do
When
I.
I'm playing
I was.
Call of Duty or Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't saying short shooters don't stress me out because these stress me out, but it was particular Call of Duty doesn't stress me out.
Right. But yeah, like that body stress of just like pent up adrenaline while you're on a really good streak and you're
That
running
stress, that
through.
the anger you have when you just get wrecked, that when you go
Well,
2-22 in EDM.
Honestly, I think a lot of the reason why people kind of rage a lot at those games, though, is what Travis was actually saying, that pent up adrenaline. Well, when think on a physiological level, you're technically putting yourself in the fight or flight thing. You're fighting with someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
But unlike in real life, when you're fighting someone, you're physically moving, you're physically doing things. Whereas when you're playing a video game, you're sitting still. Your body's not moving. You're like you're in stasis, but that adrenaline still kicks up, right? And that's the thing that I apparently Crossy Road is frustrating and stressful for you, Travis.
You heard it here first, people.
But
Crossy Road.
Crossy Road. But yeah, so that's the thing, is that you get some of that adrenaline in those games, and in the PvP, like Call of Duty, that sort of thing. I think that some people get stressed on those. Now, puzzle
Dota
games
stressed me out a little bit.
yeah,
Just because I didn't know how to play it.
but like puzzle games or complex games, those ones I think are a little bit different type of frustration, right? Where you're talking in the whole in the zone thing versus the games that are like just really like you get frustrated because you're trying to do something and you haven't figured out the way to do it right. Like you're saying Dota. Dota's extremely intimidating, when you first hop into it. It is.
Yeah, I would say that about puzzle games.
I think Dota can be intimidating no matter how long you've played the
That's
game.
true. That's true.
I think puzzle games fall right into what you're saying too. Or what about something like Outlast?
Yeah.
You know what? Really. What was the name of it was that time bomb game where you had the two people, the one person that read off the instructions
Yep.
to the bomb, and the other person that did it. Like that. That creates an interesting kind of stress.
Yes. That.
I haven't played it, but I've seen it played, and oh man, that's a good stream game right there.
Well, the thing is that that's based off of an actual, I guess you would say, like an exercise that gets done a lot, in some capacity or another. Essentially, one person has to give directions, and the other person has to complete an action. It could be you have to direct a person who is blindfolded from point A to point B through a maze of some kind. Defuse a bomb, whatever. Some kind of fine action that requires explicit knowledge, and that other person has to define the explicit knowledge. The thing is where the frustration comes in on that is because in your own mind, you think of things in a certain way. The way that you devise your outcome is very specific to you. Trying to translate that to someone else is immensely frustrating.
While on a time limit.
Yeah, while on a time limit. Yeah,
basically solving puzzles. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see it. I'm not the guy that you want to put in that situation.
But
I actually think that kind of mechanic is based off of like board games, right?
No, it's based off of I'm not sure if it came from military or.
Well, I mean, like that specific thing did, but the whole thing where like one person directs another to do an action, like that was done
That's
a
right.
lot in early board games.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm trying to remember if that actually because you gotta realize is that some things did originally start with military, but then military will turn around and see a good idea in some other area and then put that
And
into
so,
their training. So it's
and
hard to say.
sometimes they just develop, side by side and
Yeah,
like feed off each other. Technology is interesting,
yeah.
but yeah.
But in any case, bringing it back to the topic on here of, I kind of see it the same way too of the whole, you put on stress on yourself kind of as a build up for that reward because it's kind of charging up the big explosion. Like the more stressful that puzzle game is, the more fulfilled you feel when you actually beat it, right? Whereas if it's just like
Yeah.
you run through it and it's done, like okay, let's be honest, playing War Farm, right? Warframe.
Grind frame.
There's oftentimes not a lot of challenge in there. It's usually like, hey, these enemies go down really easy. And I think, and that's not just that game. Any of those games that are repetitive task games where your success in getting what you want is a dice roll. I think those kind of the reason why people get burnt on those is because they don't have that frustration. Like if it was this is stressful as shit, but at the end of it you get what you want, you're like, hell yes, I've got that gratification, right? I feel fulfilled in that hell that I just put myself through. Whereas in a game like Warframe, it's I have no challenge. There's no stress built up. Man, this is relaxing. Whatever. Oh, I didn't get what I want. Oh well, do it again. Blah. It's just very blasé, right?
Right.
And I mean, some people will find that.
We see that, but then we got pissed off at Mass Effect.
No, that's Mass Effect's the same way. I'm saying any of those
balancing
grind-based
point.
games. Yeah.
There's a balancing point too, right? Like, because you can make a thing like overly difficult to the point where, yeah, like there's that build up, but eventually people just like people will get fed up eventually.
Are you meaning like the elites in the Division that have like 1,000 times the health but no smarter of AI?
Sure.
Because that's what the elites are in the Division. It's just they're no better in any other way other than the fact that they have 1,000 times the health, so it takes you 5 hours to wear them down.
I mean, really, just like consolidate some of that processor power for some AI and just like have some people like tactically flushing me out of cover with grenades and they get shot up.
They actually do a bit of that.
Because they do that in Division. They do a pretty good job of that.
Well, no, I wouldn't say they do a good job, but they do a bit of it. Like whenever I played through some of it, and I was like, yeah, I noticed that they would actually throw grenades at me. Problem I have, first of all, is don't fucking show me where the grenade's falling. Let it be a surprise, because it's too easy to dodge it, right? Because it's like, you see this big circle on the ground, and it's like, oh, hey, by the way, there's a fucking grenade here. No, make me have to spot that shit, right?
I think developers are worried because people have, like, PTSD from playing Call of Duty, where they're, with some of the Call of Duties have had bad grenade indicators that just, like, she just all of a sudden blow up. You're like, oh, well. And then it happens again, you rage. It happens again, you rage even more. Like, grenades can be a problem if overused.
Yeah, grenade spam is a thing.
Something I'd really like to see, and it kind of goes back to like the ballistics thing, is more realistic infantry-based, like firing tactics.
Mm-hmm.
Flanking, covering fire. That sort of thing.
Yeah, well, the thing
like,
is,
some games do it okay, but like I haven't really seen like a AAA game like take on that specific doctrine. Which would be nice.
Like the thing is in Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, like at first you thought, just upon like an initial cursory glance, it was kind of dumb. Like, the AI was pretty dumb. The guys would just walk straight up to you. And then, especially as we've joked before, when they made a change to the AI of the engineers, where after they planted down their turret, they would beeline it for the nearest player they could find, and they were weak as hell, so it was just kind of a joke.
Hmm.
But the thing is that there was still, like, despite that, they weren't nearly as dumb as you think. Like the fact that the Phantoms and the Nemesises would kind of work in tandem, where the Phantom would like pop a shot off at you, so you would know where the Nemesis would like hit you, and you would see that the laser beam like hitting your screen from her targeting you, and then you'd be like, where's that Nemesis at? Gotta find her. And what you didn't know is that it was actually a trap, that Nemesis was trying to get your attention to draw you in, get up close and personal with her, and you didn't realize that there was essentially in a pincer maneuver, a Phantom waiting for you there to flank you and gut you. And I was like,
Or
that was pretty smart. Yeah, go ahead.
or sometimes when
Phantoms.
you're in cover, you're getting ready to shoot that Phantom if you have a sniper, and the Phantom is behind you.
Yeah. Well, like
Yep.
Phantoms are so frustrating. They're a combination of like such a well designed enemy and such a badly designed enemy at the same time.
The
Like
insta kill.
they're
I don't like the insta kill thing so much.
their AI and their design is great, but the what was it? The like they didn't give out enough information. Like they didn't give out enough information. Like you're being shot. Like their hand cannons were like completely silent. You have an Atlas come over and shoot you a couple of times, just like this massive cannon going off. You have a Phantom shooting, it's just like a small pop,
Yeah.
and like oftentimes you didn't even know you were being shot, but they do ridiculous damage.
Yeah, which I actually think the thing is though is that like the way, and I look at Cerberus as one of the better examples, like clearer examples of a lot of good AI strategy, and very much stress inducing, by the way. Was like you have your Atlas, which was a tank. It was meant to draw your attention. It was big as hell. It would throw down smoke grenades, which wouldn't really hide itself so well, but it would sure as hell hide the engineer dropping a turret below its feet, right? And it was brilliantly designed because that's exactly what it was meant to do. Draw your attention to it. Yes, it's kind of the boss level enemy, and yes, it could do some damage to you, could insta kill you, that sort of thing, but the major thing it was meant to do is draw your attention. So you're not paying attention to those Phantoms, you're not paying attention to those engineers dropping the turrets. That was such a great dynamic in there, and you had examples of that elsewhere too.
And then came the Dragoons.
Yeah, and
Then came the Collectors.
the collectors had an interesting dynamic though, because like one of the things I loved is that the way the scions would work as heavy artillery. Same way with the Rachni. What do they call the Rachni guys
Well, we know what you're talking about.
on the
I can't think
Reapers?
what they're called.
The-
Yeah, they have the bat cannons.
Yeah,
And
whatever
I
the
hate those
case.
damn bat cannons.
Both of them, in their own way, were kind of an interesting field artillery, and they would usually stay far back. They didn't get close to you; they would stay far back, and pound you from a distance with their like essentially a pulse cannon. Now granted, the Scion also had the grenade launcher thing, but and he could also insta kill you if you did get too close. But the main thing is he would stay far away and pulverize you from a distance. Whereas the Banshee, she would try to get up close and personal, or the Phaeton. Why am I not remembering that name? The boss of the collectors, whatever that, Praetorian. That's
Praetorian.
it. Yeah, the Praetorian.
They were so
Was kind of that one would also get up close and close the gap real quickly too. So it was a good dynamic in there. When you have challenging setups like that in AI, now granted the AI could have been better in certain areas in Mass Effect 2. Not saying that was perfect. But when you have good AI on that, it does kind of create that mental stress, of you actually have to now outthink the enemy. Whereas in War Farm, again, you just pretty much, oh yeah, this enemy is just going to keep running right straight at you despite you just tearing them apart. They're going to keep going straight for you. And there's very little strategy there.
Mhm.
I kind of like trying to have that higher stress, better AI. And by the way, Division gets that still too. I still run into guys going straight for me and clearly in my line of sight, which is a stupid move and proper AI would say, "Hey, let me hide and cover. Let me try to get around behind him, not walk straight towards him." And that's the thing, is that I think that a lot of times that stress is created when you are faced with a mental challenge as well. Whereas when you're playing against other people, especially when it's very reaction based, the mental kind of challenge on there is actually kind of a physical reflex thing. So it's like you just wanting to be faster and be better than the other person. It's kind of that fight or flight instinct that's very adrenaline driven.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of my take on it. Is I'm just spinning the topic back around, talking about game AI and bringing it back to the whole stress thing.
Wrap it up.
Because that's what I do. That's why I'm hosting the shows. I will take wherever the topic deviates from and spin it back around, make it come full circle. Yes. Anyway, final something or another. You know the drill, Kev.
Stuff.
That's my final thought. Nah, really. I hope Quantum Break isn't broken. Sadly, I pre-ordered it on Xbox One because
whoa! Stop the podcast right now. What?
I know. I pre-ordered a game. First game I pre-ordered in a long while. I did pre-order Quantum Break. It is a game I've been looking forward to for about 2 years. So I pre-ordered digital on Xbox One because if it's broken on PC, I'll at least be able to play it on the Xbox. It's not ideal, but it's something, and it still makes me sad that I did that. I felt like a peasant when I did it in the first place. So it was like, well, no. And tear.
Yes, that is terribly unfortunate, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh, I'm not proud of what I've done. I'm not proud of it.
And by the way, Kev is going to go sit in the corner after this until he and to think about what he's done.
I've already done it twice, bro.
Okay. He just goes and stares at his Xbox like,
I need a reason to play you.
I thought that the Xbox was designed as a dust filtration unit for your house.
No, my kids play it. My kids play the Xbox way more than I do. I play my PS4 quite a bit, but since most of the games come to PC, I just play them on PC.
That's an exact, that's a very, very accurate description of what my Xbox does.
But it's a 360. At this point, it should be a doorstop.
No, see, I would play my 360 more, except the power supply's dead, and I just don't feel like buying a new one.
No, just rig one up.
Well, I mean,
that sounds like that would go well. Rig up my own power supply.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, don't you like challenges?
Challenges.
At this point, though, I think
catching my house on fire. Me. Yeah, that's a challenge.
And maybe it's just me. I think at this point, though, is that the 360 is really just kind of a waste of time if you have a PC. Not because it's a bad console, but because 90% of the 360's games were on PC anyway.
Yeah, like, but I actually... The thing is that I actually have games on my Xbox that I've downloaded even that I haven't got a chance to play yet. Or beat. Like Thief 4.
Oh, well, then you have a reason to actually play it then.
Yeah, Thief 4. I'd never beat that one, although that was kind of eh. That was the what do you call it? Casualized Thief experience.
Mm-hmm. I would also say maybe look at even getting those games on PC if you really want to play them.
Yeah, if I really want
to. Go Grey Keys. You can get those games for like $5 a lot.
You know my opinion on those, Kev.
I know. And you know how I feel about them.
I will buy the games through legitimate sources that are not in some way screwing someone else over. Yeah.
You have no evidence to back up that they're screwing
there is evidence to back those up, Kev. It's evidence that you have chosen to ignore, because I even posted you a link of a story where a guy hunted down the source of his key, and it was actually a key that was not for sale. He got it as a promotional copy from a game developer, and he went and sold it, which is actually very unethical to say the least, possibly illegal.
That's one key out of thousands.
No, that's most of them come from. How do they get that cheap, Kev?
I don't ask at Walmart how they get cheap prices. I don't ask CD Key prices how they get so cheap.
That's not equivalent. see Walmart, it's very clear how they get cheap prices. They have the people selling their stuff come to them and bid, and whoever has the lowest bid gets to sell their stuff at the world's largest retail chain. So
All this time I thought they came with a guy strapped in with TNT.
Nope.
like
You gonna
going,
give me a good deal, or this motherfucker gonna blow up.
it's like going to like a flea market or something.
Yeah.
To the, you know, guys, it fell off the back of a truck. Guys, there selling stuff for cheap.
That's the gray market keys.
Alongside, you know, some legitimate players as well.
Yeah.
And you really can't tell.
Yeah, the gray keys are more like a flea market, whereas Walmart actually, although there's some issues with their business practice, but the way they get their prices cheap is not in any way unethical. It's actually a very smart practice, and it's very legal, very clear, and anybody can look it up and find out how to do it. But yeah, gray market sites are kind of like a flea market. Maybe it fell off the back of the truck, maybe not. But anyway, so hey, want to buy a watch?
You want to buy a watch?
You want to buy a watch? I've got a Rolex for you. Anybody who's ever been in Manhattan knows exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Travis, final thoughts.
I'm just looking on Steam, trying to find some pretty cool games.
You need to start looking at Micro Center.
Yeah, just spotted that Pathologic HD came out back in October of last year, but just check back up on it, check the reviews, and has some positive reviews on it. So I might have to grab it and play it.
You can try Black Desert Online too, although you'll need a proper computer for that probably.
What is Black
That's
Desert?
why I'm telling him to go to Micro Center so you can get a proper computer.
Yeah, Black Desert Online is an MMO.
MMO?
Yeah, that's
MMO?
the one. That's the one. It's an MMO that's like live action. Apparently, it's some people say great, some people say bad, but I'm pretty much assuming that means that there's shit you're gonna like, there's shit that you're not gonna like. That about sums it up. Anyway, I'll go and give my final thoughts here. So, as everybody knows, Angelus de Mortiel, you know, the guy who does the podcast thing. That's pretty much all I do anymore. I really should do more videos. But,
yes.
Yeah, I've really gotten lazy about that recently and just don't have much time for it. But whatever the case, obviously, just like every other week, we're here live every Sunday nights, 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, not Standard Time anymore, until the world actually wises up and gets rid of that stupid antiquated system known as Daylight Savings Time. However, if you want to see us live on cams, check us out on my channel. Link will be down in the description here or on Twitch. If you want to see it with some gameplay, because you don't want to look at our ugly faces, then you can go over to Kev's channel.
I'm pretty. I am so pretty.
You can go over to Kev's channels, and then you don't have to look at Kev's face. That sounds like fun,
Your girl
right?
want to see my face.
Your name isn't that your screen name is not Your Girl Wants Kev anymore. Sorry, you're Kev the Gamer. Kev the Gamer.
Depends on where you look.
You want to shirk that name. You lost all privileges to it.
My gamer tag on Xbox is still Your Girl Wants Kev, and it's still that way on PSN.
I'll pony up and give you the Microsoft points to go and change that. Get your proper game tag. In any case, though, we're gonna go ahead and get signed off here. And now that we're only 20 minutes over time, pretty standard. But we'll go ahead and catch you guys next week on the Pixel Crashers podcast.